Hello, John Miller again, founding attorney with Rock Solid Law. Thanks. Wow, big crowd this morning. Thanks for joining us. We love doing these educational webinars every week. We always keep them to about 40 minutes. And today's going to be even shorter. I'm going to answer that first question right now. Yes, your video's off. I can't see you. Presumably you can see me. This is not a call where we see each other. This is just a webinar. So don't worry if you're still in your pajamas, good for you. I've got my Christmas light bulb tie on. My children love to give me Christmas ties, and I pretty much have one for every day at this point in my life. So while I'm doing a little introductory remark, go ahead if you can and do open a separate page to www.rocksolidlaw.com. I will walk you through how to use the portability calculator this morning. So welcome to Rock Solid Law's weekly webinars. If you're watching this on video later, feel free to submit any questions to me at john@rocksolidlaw.com. Those of you on the call this morning, any questions as we go, please put them in the chat bar. I've got it open already. That's where I put the website so you could get there. So as you know, we practice real estate, we practice estate planning, and I represent small business owners. So I believe, obviously, today's subject is important to real estate, but it's also important in estate planning because it's about preservation of the assets and lessening taxes for people. My goal is to make all of you experts in portability, at least enough where you know where to go to get the answers that your customers and clients need. I have done regularly full seminars live and webinars on portability. If you wish to do that video, you can go to www.rocksolidlaw.com/videos, and there are a number of these sessions on there, including one or more on portability. Just very briefly, probably everybody on this call understands that portability has taken a tax advantage that a Florida homesteader, a homeowner in Florida who has declared homestead, has accrued over time and moving it to their next Florida homestead. So very important. It's Florida to Florida. Real property, it cannot involve real property from another state, just doesn't count. That's the rules. There are a lot of rules, but those are the most basic ones. And it often happens when people are upsizing as their family grows. And then also portability is important as someone becomes an empty nester, whether they're buying a bigger house, or I just had a client the other day who is finally selling that home that they raised their family in and moving to the 2-bedroom condo with no lawn maintenance. So in both directions that works, and we're going to show you that this morning. So if you want to know more about portability, go check that out. I will also teach a webinar on that probably early next year. And we just did a live event. It was our first live event in probably 5 or 6 months. We had half a dozen realtors join us at Casa Marina, and we talked about portability there as well. Probably do a live one. Just going to wait and see what's happening with closures in the pandemic. But sometime in the first quarter next year, we'll do a live one. Totally go over portability again. I will tell you before we start, it's pretty easy when they upsize. The reason we did the portability calculator is the math gets tough when they downsize. So when you've had somebody that's been in that house, 30 years, 25 years, raised their kids there, and like most Florida property does, it's appreciated well beyond the 3% cap on tax appreciation. There's a big number there, and they've got to figure out how much of that they can take to their next place. It's really important because if they fail to do it, they lose it for life. If they do it, they keep it for life. So it's uber important that folks realize that. So I hope all of you now have up the Rock Solid Law website. You're looking at the back of a lovely family who are engaged in estate planning or walking to their new home down the beach. And so I'd like you to click across the top are a number of things. On the left, after you see our logo, is the word home. Next to that is about us. And the next one is services. So click on services, please. Services. Under services, you'll see the 3 things we do. And the first one is estate planning, wills, and trusts. Skip that one and go to the real estate closings, refinances, title, and escrow, and click on that. Give you a second to do that. Let me know if you're having any trouble by typing a message in. And you'll see real estate and title in big words and a sold sign. Many of you are familiar with that. The first, at the very bottom, if you scroll up just a titch, you'll see kind of a aquamarine large button that says click here to send a contract. So scroll down, continue to scroll, and you're going to see another button, the same color with the same white letters as that one, and it says utilize our portability calculator. I've got a question in Q&A. I'm going to pause right now and answer that question. Let me bring Q&A up. I am not seeing it. You found it. Hooray. All right. We are successful. All right. So now let's click on utilize our portability calculator. And everybody will wait just a second. Mine is already on it. I'll give another few seconds. What's the name of the site? Hi, welcome. So right at the top of the chat, you can see it, but it's www.rocksolidlaw.com. And then you're going to go to services, real estate, and then the big portability calculator button. Everybody good? Don't raise your hand. I don't know how to use that button, but put something in Q&A or in the chat box if I need to pause and answer any questions, because it's important that you're there, because if you're not, the rest of this is going to make no sense at all. If you're there, you'll see a Florida Save Our Homestead Act portability calculator. All you really care about is that it's a portability calculator, right? You'll see a pretty little picture that looks like it was taken across the intercoastal and of the ditch. Sorry, I'm a beach guy. And you'll see a bunch of boxes with numbers in it, right? So this is pretty darn, let's see, what's at input screen. Good, you're there. Okay, I'm not getting any messages that anybody's not there. This is going to be a pretty quick lesson. So if you're not there, say so quick. Nobody else gets to know but me, I think. And I'll get you there. 5. Ooh, coffee sip. Sort of like social drink, but for work time. All right, looks like everybody's there. I'm going to let you guys play with me. Somebody give me the fair market value of the existing home. This is the home that someone that is your customer, probably you're the listing agent. There we go. Okay, that's a good one for our market, $550,000. Let me know, the one person who said you're not there yet, where you are so I can help you get there if you need help. rocksolidlaw.com homepage. Across the top bar, hit services. Under services, hit real estate. Under real estate, scroll down just a bit and hit portability calculator. All right. By the way, I love this, guys. This took me half a year to get this thing created and up. And I'll tell you one of the reasons I did it. Some counties in South Florida, it's very easy to find their calculator online. But for most of our Northeast Florida counties, it's hard to find. Duval swears it's there, but they've hidden it better than any Easter egg I've ever known of. I can locate the St. John's one, but I thought, what the heck? Let's just do our own. It'd be nice to just bump over there and be able to answer this question. Okay, we're going to start out with a fair market value of the home that your customer listing agent has owned for some period of time. All right. So 550,000. Put all of that in the first box under existing home fair market value. Now, let's say they've owned it a number of years and they bought it significantly below the current fair market value. So for every year, there's a calculation for this that the tax assessor does, but let's just play with the 3% cap, because there's another cap that often comes in that has more to do with indices of the economy that I don't even want to talk about today. So let's say that it grew at some rate and it is currently assessed at what value? Who can tell me that? Who wants to pick a value? It's got to be below 550. Anybody? Somebody play. Come on, guys. I know you're signing. There you go. Thank you. Okay, we're going to call the assessed value an even $300,000, which makes for easy math. Now, they're going to go buy a new home. Let's first have this family being fabulously successful, and they're going to buy a more valuable home than their old one. How much would you like this couple to purchase their new home for? Come on, realtors. I know you want it to be a big number. Not playing in the sandbox by myself. Somebody give me a number. Somebody give me a number bigger than 550. Woo! I like that one. I want to close that. Is that 12 million? Okay. Yes, let's buy a new home for 12 million. Think big. So a 12 and 6 zeros, everybody. Any of those numbers that you guys are saying will do. I just happen to see that one first. And we'll come back to the lower one in just a minute. So I'm going to make this a couple. You see the number of owners to the right. That is whether there is one owner or two, if it's an individual or a couple. And the reason is we programmed the calculator to also take advantage of the standard $25,000 or $50,000 exemption, which you'll see down at the bottom in a moment. So we're going to hit number 2. Everybody got that? All right. So just a recapitulation. The existing house is being sold for $550,000. We're going to call that the fair market value for the purpose of today's discussion. But it's only assessed at $300,000 because they've owned it for a good long while. They're going to go buy a new home of $12 million, this couple who has done very, very well. And then we're going to go, and probably half of you already did it, hit the calculate benefit button. Boom. You see it populate those numbers below? It's kind of fun. It happens really fast. I had to do it several times because it happened so fast. So guess what? What happens when you buy a bigger house? You get your full portability benefit, right? The whole $500,000. That ain't right. Should be $250,000. Oh, let's go. Hang on. With the assessed value of $11,500,000, right? And then a standard exemption of, oh, I went back to one person. Sorry, 2 people. Your estimated taxable value is $11,450,000. All right, let's go back. Somebody else wanted to do the new house at $975,000. So just play with it. Put your $975,000 in there. Take your 2 owners and calculate your benefit. There it is, $250,000 portability benefit. The assessed value at $725,000 standard exemption. So the taxable value will be $675,000. That means if they buy that house at $975,000, I've never tried it with something over $1 million. I'm not totally comfortable that it got itself right there, and I'm going to double check that. But this calculation is correct. The portability benefit is the entire $250,000, which is the difference between your assessed value of $300,000 and your market value of $550,000. Okay. Then we do the standard exemption, and the estimated taxable value on that $975,000 new purchase is only $675,000. You see how this helps you out? You can now tell that person, hey, your taxes are not going to be on the full $975,000 because of your portability benefit. You can afford this house because it's only going to be taxed at $675,000. All right. Let me get the Q&A up. I've got the chat up. Does the market value mean when what they sell? Oh, no. Okay, this is a great question. I'm going to read it out loud. I don't know if you guys see the Q&A or not, but it's this. Does the market value mean what they sell it for? Or is it what the county tax records say the market value is? I see the county keeping the market value low so that there's less a difference on market value versus assessed. My home is, may I read that out loud? So there's an example there that I'm not going to share. Yes, okay. Is worth, quote unquote, 575, but the market value on the tax records is 406. Right. And ironically, that's what they say my assessed value is. I've been in it for 6 years. Okay, so the assessed value can only, at the tax collector, can only go up by our Florida statutes and constitutions by 3% or less a year. Okay. Yep. And I'll answer that question in just a second, Angel. So these are subjects that I do cover in the full portability webinar, but I'll touch on it. I don't have any problem doing that. The assessed value is originally determined by the property appraiser. And you guys know that when there's a sale, they typically come back out and they'll reassess, and they'll use the sale value to reassess typically higher. There are a lot of theories on where that assessed value comes from. Most tax assessors don't share with the public exactly how they do it. My own feeling is that it is a value high enough for their tax purposes, yet low enough that they will receive a manageable number of appeals, right? Because if you don't agree with your assessed value, you can appeal it. So the assessed value, most of us want that to be low because that's the basis on which we pay taxes, but it is set originally by the tax assessor, and if not appealed, that will be established. And then it goes up as governed by the Constitution every year. So the assessed value, again, Angel, is it comes from the tax assessor's office, and they determine an initial assessed value, and then they just apply a formula to it year after year to see how much that grows. And then as the actual fair market value gets greater than the assessed value, then that's where the portability amount comes from, right? So I think the market value is the definition of a fair market value is the amount at which a willing buyer would purchase the property from a willing seller at an arm's length transaction. What does an arm's length transaction mean? An arm's length transaction means it's not your cousin, and there's nobody forcing you to buy or sell, and everybody is making a reasonable commercial decision on the purchase. So I think I answered those questions. Some of those are better defined in the portability webinar, which again is at the videos, front/videos on our website. So let's go back. Some people gave me a couple of examples of downsizing, and let's see. That is, gotta get my glasses back on. That is the current example. We went from a market value of 550 and an assessed value of 300. Let's stay with that because I'm writing it down in case I lose it. Let's stay with that because then you can see how the portability benefit is different as we diminish the value. With the increased value, it's always going to be the amount of the portability up to $500,000. Okay, it can never be more than $500,000, as we saw in that other example. With the decreased value, it's formulaic. And really, when I teach the portability class, that formula is the most difficult part practically because it does engage us in some math exercises. So that's what this calculator is really for. When you've got that empty nester downsizing, this thing becomes really important. So I do see we've had some people join us. If you're a little lost in the weeds, at the very top of the chat bar is my website. Our website is rocksolidlaw.com. And you'll want to go to the services drop down under that to real estate, and under that scroll down and hit the portability calculator to catch up with us. So I got two examples for downsizes, I believe. We're going to stay with the market value of 550 and assessed value at 300. And of course, you guys, there's no charge for this to y'all. So you can play with this darn thing all day long. So we're going to put them in a new home. Let's see, the first lower value of a no, they went real little. Okay, we're going to go with a $50,000 home. After they sell this couple's going to sell their house for $550,000 with an assessed value of $300,000. The difference obviously is $250,000. Now they're going to buy a smaller house, and we are going to put the 2 in there again for anybody that hasn't let that remain there, and hit the calculate benefit button. So now their portability benefit dropped all the way down to $22,727. So you go, well, that's not fair. Well, that's going to be the assessed value, and this couple's going to get their standard exemptions, and they're going to actually have a negative value, which means they're not going to pay a tax. So you can see the extreme benefit even when they don't get the full amount of their portability because they're downsizing. I have another, what are you guys called? Attendee suggesting that we use a $275,000 new home. So they went from their $550,000 home that had an assessed value per the tax assessor of $300,000. And now they're going to downsize to a smaller home because the kids have gone to college or whatever, to $275,000. I'm going to stay with a couple. We're going to calculate that benefit. Boom. You see that? Press the calculate button and you'll see that their portability benefit is going to be $125,000, meaning that the assessed value will only be $150,000, right? That would be $275,000 minus $125,000. So, and then from that assessed value, they're going to get their $50,000 standard Florida couple homestead exemption, meaning that they're going to have a taxable value or an assessed value to start their new home with of only $100,000. All right, that $275,000 home, they're only going to have a tax basis of $100,000. That makes them able to buy a whole lot more home, doesn't it? So as you'll see, if you go do, or if you have done or go do my portability webinar, this is really something beautiful the state of Florida does for our residents. And my thought, and I have never read this anywhere, is that it's really to help keep folks in their home or a home as we age, so that we can afford to keep our homes. All right. That's how this thing works. If you need to work through the calculation on a specified matter, and then you can't quite remember how to do it, give me a buzz, shoot me an email, john@rocksolidlaw.com. Yes, there's 2 things. I'm glad you like the calculator, and woohoo, thank you for sharing it with your staff. Feel free to share this with absolutely anybody, guys. This is out there for the world to use. Yes, I did cover that in my most recent portability webinar. They have voted to extend portability to 3 years. So they have an extra year to get that extended. I don't know. I don't believe it's retroactive. I have not researched that. But I would not count on it being retroactive. If I were coming up on my deadline, I would absolutely want to apply for portability and at least get the process started. You're welcome. You're welcome. And, Merry Christmas. This is just something that we wanted to do to get out there in the community to help people to be able to better serve our real estate clients. Oh, awesome. I'll take an awesome any day. I think I've got another something on Q&A. I'm trying to open that back up. Somehow I can't keep Q&A and chat open at the same time. I'm sure even after a full year of Zoom. No, yes. Where does the assessed value come? I did that one. I got one more question here. Pop them in if you want them. We got a few more minutes. Yes. Once you sell the current homestead, then you can take advantage of portability. And of course, if you bought your new, yes, you could do it Doesn't have to be one after the other. And this is something I address in the portability webinar. Glad to talk about it here. You could even say you owned a rental property and you sold your homestead. You could move your homestead and move into that rental property, and you could port your tax savings with you. So I'm not seeing any more questions. And, in my portability webinar, I talk about the fact that portability is all about a port. It's where you harbor something and then you port it to the next place. That's the portability. And so I'm going to leave you today with a little Jimmy Buffett Christmas song about a sailor's Christmas in port. Listen, if you have any other questions, please feel free to shoot me an email, john@rocksolidlaw.com. I'll be delighted to answer those for you. And always in the future, guys, totally happy to help you through using the calculator so that we get our clients served best. Do you have to be closed? I got a question here. Hopefully you can hear me over Jimmy. Do you have to have closed on the property by the end of the year? I presume you mean the new property? No, you've now got 3 years to get that done. To identify the new homestead. It does have to become the new homestead within the time granted. I'm not a litigator anymore, as you know, but I would certainly contest to have portability allowed in any reasonable circumstance. And we don't do that work, but I would be delighted to give a referral. I would encourage the substitute property to be identified by the year end and closed, because, as you know, you can't have homestead on the new property until you spend New Year's Eve there. Hey guys, John Miller, Rock Solid Law. I sure do appreciate you being here. Happy holy days. And any questions, just shoot them to me. Appreciate you spending part of your Thursday morning with us. And this will be available on the website in due course. If any of your friends had to miss it, we'll hook them up. Thanks. Bye-bye. Live long and prosper.